As much as we love the way our Gladiator looks with the tail end trimmed, this thing is ugly as sin. And I think it's about time we do something about it. This is a Dynomax Quite Crawler exhaust system. For the most part, it's the exact same Quite Crawler system that they've been making for the 3.6 for about as long as it's been around. Only this one is made specifically for the Jeep JT Gladiator. As you can see, it comes with a low profile bullet resonator and their high clearance super turbo muffler. Of course, what it doesn't have is a big, ugly resonator attached to the tailpipe. Exactly what we've been looking for. Let's get this thing installed. If you still have a spare tire hanging from the frame rails of your Jeep Gladiator, the first thing you're going to want to do is remove it and the heat shield. And for that, you'll need a 10mm socket. Once you've got them out of the way, removing the exhaust will be a lot easier. And for the most part, the only thing you'll need is a 13mm socket. So the first bolt that you're going to need to loosen up is one that's located right next to the transfer case. And if you look up here, it's securing this clamp in place. So from here, I think I can start using my electric ratchet. So that's what I'm going to switch out to now. All right, so following the exhaust just a bit, you can see that there is an exhaust hanger secured to the frame rail with these two bolts, and those bolts will need to be removed. So following the exhaust a little further back, you'll find that there's another exhaust hanger attached to the cross member, and these two bolts securing it in place will need to be removed as well. Last but not least, there's one more exhaust hanger attached to the tail end of your Gladiator's frame rail, and the two bolts securing it in place will need to be removed as well. All right, now I'm going to go back up front and I'm going to separate the exhaust system from the clamp, and from there I should be able to wiggle everything out. All right, so because we have a track bar relocation bracket which pushes our track bar up a lot higher, just to correct the geometry of things, it's making it a little bit hard, if not impossible, to get this exhaust removed. So short of cutting the exhaust tubes and pulling it out, I think the easiest thing for me to do is remove this track bar bolt, and I should be able to pull everything out. All right, hopefully everything goes through now. That's how it should have gone. So before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and reinstall my track bar. All right. Now, I should note that it really isn't necessary to remove all the exhaust hanger mounts from the frame rail and the cross member, but it sure makes it a lot easier to separate it from the exhaust system with everything off of the Jeep. So from here, I'm going to just take them all off and then reinstall them back onto the Jeep. All right, so For the cross member mount, we're gonna hold off on installing this until everything else is installed, but we are gonna go ahead and install the final hanger onto the frame rail. All right, now it's time to install our new exhaust system, but first let's get a little organized. Very rudimentary instructions. That's how easy it is to install. See, a bunch of clamps. All right, so it's really nice that Dynomax sends this kit in pieces, not only for shipping purposes, but it makes it a lot easier to install on our Jeep. And the first piece we're gonna want is this guy right here. And it looks like they even sent us a new clamp, so I don't have to reuse the factory one. What we're gonna do is we're gonna slip this on just loosely. And then I'm gonna grab my ratchet again, my electric one, and maybe even the small impact. Go back underneath the Jeep. See, so take this piece here, place it up here. All right, so using a 13mm socket, I'm just going to loosely secure this clamp in place. We definitely want this thing to move around still. So next up, we're going to grab the bullet resonator, and I don't believe there is an inlet, and usually it'll say one way or another if it needs to go on a certain way, but from what I can tell, it's just a straight pipe with some baffling. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a band clamp, place it on, let's go on this end. On one end. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and slip this on. Okay, and for all the band clamps, we're going to actually use a 5/8 inch socket, loosely secured in place. All right, so now we're going to grab the intermediate pipe, which I'm pretty sure it's this, and grab another band clamp. All right, so now take one of our band clamps, take our intermediate pipe, put it together, slip it into the hanger, there we go. And then as before, we're going to go ahead and loosely secure this clamp in place. Good. Make sure everything's moving around. Perfect. All right, now for the muffler. Here we are, Dynomax. All right, so it doesn't look like there's an inlet specific end to this thing. So I'm just gonna make sure that Dynomax can be read from the outside. I'm gonna grab a band clamp, get it installed. Okay. Alrighty. Let's actually rotate this down. All right, and then as before, as with all the other clamps, go ahead and loosely secure this in place. All right, last piece, the tailpipe. Grab our band clamp, grab our pipe. All right. Set this up and over. All right, just to help things along, I'm going to use a bungee cord to hold the muffler up in place. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take our final band clamp, put it on the muffler, take our exhaust, slip that in, and then loosely secure the clamp in place. Okay. Now, before I go any further, I kind of want to show you what everything is going to look like if we just finish up the install as is. And as you can see, although there's no big muffler underneath the tail end of our Gladiator, this pipe basically sits in the same place. And while it looks a little bit better, it's not exactly what we had in mind. All right, so I think what I want to do is cut the pipe right about here so that this last exhaust hanger will still hold it in place and we can delete the rest. Let's try this on for size. Okay. All right, now we can go ahead and put on this cross member exhaust hanger. That looks a lot better. Okay. So starting back at the front, I'm now gonna align every piece and then we're gonna go ahead and tighten up these clamps. Okay, now switching now to a 5/8 inch deep socket, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up all the band clamps all the way to the back. One more thing. Ta-da! A tip. Because I had an idea that we were going to be doing this. There. Now that looks a heck of a lot better. As I said from the very beginning, the whole reason why we wanted to install something like the Dynomax exhaust system, the Quite Crawler system, is so that we could clean up the less than attractive resonator that came from the factory. And I think it did that job really well. But looks aren't everything. Let's hear how it sounds. What do you think? Here, let me give you a comparison sound clip from what it sounded like factory. Now let's hear it in different situations. And there you have it, our Jeep JT Gladiator with its tail end trimmed and minus the muffler. Now, truth be told, we probably could have done something just like this by cutting off the resonator on the factory exhaust system. But for me personally, I've always loved the way the Dynomax Quite Crawler exhaust system sounded, especially with the 3.6, and being that it has a very low profile all the way across with its bullet resonator and its high clearance turbo muffler, super turbo muffler, I think I'm really happy with the results. But we'd love to know what you think about what you see and what you hear.